Hello, I'm Anthony Malakian, news editor of Waters, and today I'm here with Annie Morris, the Managing Director of Americas for Linedata. Annie, to start off with, why don't you tell us about what are some of the trends that you're seeing in the institutional asset management space?
Sure. There's an interesting question going back and forth in our client base, our typical client base. And that question is, it's always driven by the financial crisis and making sure that what happened a few years ago can be prevented, is based on their operational and their technology infrastructure that they put in place years ago. Let's say that structure is here and the revenue's here. What happens if the revenue drops here?
Okay.
Which is basically what happened a few years ago. So organizations today are asking themselves, how can we make this level of spend more flexible?
Okay.
How can we make sure that if there is a sudden drop, that we're not tied to a fixed level of spend here?
Mm-hmm.
We need more flexibility in what we're spending our money on when it comes to operations and when it comes to technology.
Okay.
So how do they do that? That's a big question. We are a trusted advisor from a technology perspective to our clients, the financial firms. So they come to us and they'll ask us, what can we do to, number one, still provide a top level of application functionality to our business users? Very, very important. And number two, how can we do that in a way that's more flexible?
Okay.
So Linedata, there's a number of ways organizations can do that. They can consolidate disparate systems or redundant systems. They can, while reducing their staffing levels, they can use resources from other technology firms like Linedata, and they can rationalize. This is what I call the rationalization of the technology spend, and that's a big conversation going on at financial firms. You don't hear about it a lot because some of the answers there are a little bit controversial.
Yeah. And obviously something that's been on everybody's lips is Dodd-Frank, and it will continue to be. Why don't you tell us about how are your clients preparing for these impending, finalization of these rules?
Okay. Our clients span, first of all, hedge funds, standard asset managers. We have insurance companies in Europe that use our software. We have wealth management firms. So the question that is first asked when we're brought to the table to have the advisory conversation with our clients around this is, which regulations apply to you?
Mm-hmm.
And what are the deadlines around those regulations? Because as you are, I'm sure you know, the changes on the deadlines are constant and you have to constantly keep up with them. So number one is, which are the relevant regulations? And that's an easier question. The second harder question is, okay, based on Dodd-Frank, what does that mean for me as an organization? And that one's much more difficult to answer. But once they get the answers to those two questions in place, then the design of the solution comes into play. And the design of the solution is, some people think it's just, well, we're going to go buy a compliance system and then we're going to be fine because now we can produce a report. But it goes much farther than that, because you have to think about, do I have the right data? If I have the right data, can I access the data in a flexible way? Because often the SEC requests can vary and can be different from one month to the next. Okay. So do I have a flexible reporting solution in place? Do I have the right software to be constantly monitoring the operation? And then the final piece that is often neglected, but in some ways is the most important piece, is what I call your compliance workflow.
Okay.
So if there is a violation, if there is a problem, what happens? Who gets notified? Who is allowed to make a decision that the violation is okay? Who, after that violation is rectified, who is the one that's following up to make sure that it truly is rectified? So those three components, meaning the data, the reporting and the software, and then the workflow, are the three main pieces that the financial firms have to think about once they've solved that first question of what does it mean for me exactly.
Very good. And as we head on into the year here, what can the industry expect from Linedata? What are some of the projects that you're working on currently?
We're very, very excited about a new piece of trading technology we released this year. Mm-hmm. That trading technology is called Trader Plus, and here's why we're excited about it. We had the luxury of basically taking the approach of, here's a blank piece of paper. Our product designers, who, by the way, are ex-traders, worked with their buddies on the trading desks, and they said, imagine that you don't have any technology on your desk today, and you're going to sit with us to design what you want the cockpit to look like for you. Because Linedata is going to take the approach of pretend there's nothing there today. And Trader Plus is the solution to starting from scratch, what should a trader have on their desktop? Okay. So, people ask me, is it an EMS? Is it an OEMS? Is it just a trading screen? And we try to avoid answering that question because in a way it does not fit within any one of those standard ways we talk about technology that sits on a trader's desktop. So what it does is two main things that are different. Number one, rather than having a spreadsheet view of the book, which is your typical way a trader looks at their book, it uses visualization tools to look at what's going on in the markets and what's going on the desk.
Okay.
So visualization technology is core to Trader Plus. And then second, seamless integration with everything else on the desk. Because one of the complaints from a trader is, well, I use my EMS over here, I've got my broker restrictions over here, I've got my allocation methodologies over here. So Trader Plus allows there to be very seamless of all the components that you need to look at the trading desk and how to do your trading, all of that seamlessly integrated together. So those are the two reasons we're very excited, and the trading community has been very, very excited to get it rolled out on the desktop. Our first client went live a couple weeks ago.
Very good.
So we're off and running on that new software.
All right. Well, Annie, thank you very much for taking time to speak with us today.
Thank you so much, Anthony.